Good evening, folks. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels, and we are going to that horrible world known as the JRC. But before we do the usual disclaimers, I'm coming to you this evening on a Wednesday evening because I took a couple hours off because my entire week has been I'm not ageist. I'm not. But I'm mostly angry at these younger kids who insist that their elderly parents learn how to use the internet. These folks are in their 80s. They're in their 90s. A good majority of them are afraid of the internet. Okay? They're afraid of it. You and I may not understand that. But I take their feelings as valid. When your old elderly parents show distress at the idea of the internet, let alone attempting to try to purchase something online and try to use something like financing, do it for them. Do not try to make them navigate an internet that they're not used to, that they're afraid of. Okay? Most of these folks don't even know what a search bar is. They don't know what a web bar is. Good majority of the time, they're wondering why they can't pull up a SKU number on Google. Help your elderly parents. This shouldn't be a big ask. It saves everyone time and a lot of frustration. I don't like when elderly folks are on the phone with me, literally in tears. Because they're trying to figure out something that their kids should have already helped them with. Alright, to the disclaimers, and then we'll get through this, right? I got fruit snacks calling my name. In the description box, you're going to find a link to the article that the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read. It's written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics, wherein they interviewed and surveyed over 900 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called behavior modification program. So-called. Matter of fact, the JRC doesn't want you to read this article so much, they have threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. Well, folks, NeuroClastic has refused, so you know the drill. Please read the article and share it on all your social media. Also included in there is NeuroClastic's public statement regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding in case the JRC actually sees through with their threat. Also included in there, the Ozark's first article in regards to Agape Boarding School, also known as Stone for Help boarding school situation, a so-called Christian-themed boarding school based out of Stockton, Missouri that takes in so-called troubled male teens that has impending over 21 civil lawsuits, claims, and allegations leveled against it, all which have been substantiated by the Missouri Department of Social Services, and they include the following: sodomy, rape, sexual assault, child abuse, psychological and emotional abuse, child trafficking, starvation, and that's just for starters. You have one former staff member arrested by the FBI, another a doctor, still on the premises with full access to the boys up on multiple, again, substantiated claims of sodomy, rape, and sexual assault of the boys there. You have an attorney general too busy chasing after drag queens, trying and failing to defund public libraries, and just in general, the worst Photoshop skills I've ever seen. And I've seen the so-called AH photos, and those are bad. If you're doing worse than that, you should probably seek employment in another field. Just saying. We also got our governor. He's off his nut, folks. The rights of autistics and other neurodivergents are being basically slowly eroded in alphabetical order. So please send help. Read that article. Share it on all your social media. We got the other pertinent links to the Stop the Shocks campaign as well, including Autistic Hoya's massive archive on the subject, Jennifer Masumba's behavioral sheet of shockable offenses, a clip out of the 7-hour ordeal undergone by Andre McCollins back in 2002, the templates and the ever-present, very self-explanatory, change.org, shut the Judge Rotenberg Center down petition. When we discuss the JRC, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of peoples with disabilities being tortured and abused. If you do got young children present, folks, please, as always, use your headphones, all right? This channel, trigger warning, is marked not for children for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously, folks, parental supervision is advised, all right? All right, so let's go where we left off last time, shall we? Excuse me, allergies have been out of control. Feelings of intimidation. This should be good. Each of the mothers reported that they felt intimidated both by staff at the facility and by the state agencies when trying to influence their child's program and quality of life. Heidi's mother stated in response to discussing shocks administered to her daughter. She's not really allowed to discuss these things with me. I should never be talking about the past or anything like that. They know they can't push me around, so they try to intimidate me as much as possible. And because of my daughter, I'd let myself be that, because I worry that she is going to get some type of flack. Parents on the whole are manipulated by the facility, and I really resent that. I resent being treated like a criminal sometimes when I'm there. When I ask for a report, I should get it. Basic Parental Rights 101, Massachusetts. You like to scream parental rights when defending your torture center? But I notice that doesn't apply to the parents who don't agree with your insane asylum policies. I notice you don't pay them the same amount of respect as you do who've drank the Kool-Aid. I shouldn't be surprised by this, and I'm not. But here's the law. Is the parent the legal guardian of the child? If the answer is yes, when they ask for information, you give it to them. There is no if, ands, buts, or maybes. They ask, you give. Point blank, period. They want to see surveillance camera footage, you show it to them. They want a document, you give it to them. They tell you to stop shocking their children, you stop shocking their children. It's that simple. If you actually cared about consent whatsoever, if a parent tells you they do not consent to you using that device on their child, you know what you do? You know what you're legally bound to do. To take the device off the kid. Now, you can try to get around it with your substituted judgment, because I don't know how you like to tote parental rights until you rob the parents of them. But even when you play fast and loose with the law and, your little pet judges you like to pay off plays ball with you, till that period of time, until that substituted judgment goes through, it is the parent who is still in full legal control. When they tell you to do something, you do it. It's that simple. You don't get to sit around with saying, but I feel the law. And I love to say this because I've had to repeat myself a lot. The law does not care what you think or what you feel. It is point blank in the white and black, folks. In the black typing. Okay? You don't get to change the laws around to adjust to how it suits you. Okay? And it doesn't surprise me that they use intimidation tactics, nor does it surprise me at all that they use guilt. I'm going to state this to the parents who are uncomfortable right now, who have your kids in that school. Don't let them intimidate you. If they ever pull this here, where they say that you are not allowed to discuss with your child a section of their treatment plan, you are the parent. Be the parent. If you feel that something is wrong and you are seeing red flags, be the parent. Okay? You are the one and only line of defense when your kids are around this age. You are all we got. Okay? Do not let people like this try to tell you that you as a parent do not have the right to have access to what your child's program is. Do not allow them to intimidate you into thinking that you do not have a right to have a say in that program. You are the parent. Quite frankly, you and your kid are the only people on this planet that have the right to have any kind of say in the treatment program. Okay? Doctors and experts be damned. You have the full legal power and authority over your child. Use it. And if you want to keep from being intimidated, reach out to places like the Autism Self-Advocacy Network. Your child, due to the law of the Disability Bill of Rights that passed in the early 2000s, has a legal right to have a disability advocate in the room with them to advocate on their behalf. I would say utilize that. I'd also say make sure when you feel uneasy and they pull this crap that the next time you go to visit, you have your lawyer present. Call their bluff. You are the parent. You have the power. Okay? And if you wanted to yank your kid out of this school this very second, as long as they do not have that substituted judgment in place that strips you of your parental rights, you have every right to do so. And quite frankly, there's not a single thing that the JRC can do about it. But let's read on here, shall we? Andrew's mother stated, and they told me that in order for him to stay there, he would have to have electric shock, and I would have to sign the paper, and I refused again. And so they told me if I don't do it, they would go to the court and get it done. That's what they did. What did I tell you? Beware, parents, of anyone who tries to force you make you sign a sheet of paper. The moment that happened, that should have been the moment that you told them, all right, I'm going to get my kid. I'm going to pull him out of your school, and we are going home. Because at that point, the substituted judgment is not in place yet, which means you can go in there into the kid's residence, go get them, put them in your car, and go home. And there's not a single goddamn thing that the JRC can do about it. You know that saying, know your power? Know your power. Know your legal rights. Okay? No matter what they try to intimidate you with. If they were sit there and say, well, we're just going to do it anyway, whether you want us to or not. We're just going to get the judges and we'll strip you of your parental rights. That's when you should laugh in their face and say, that's cute. Bring my kid to me now. We're leaving. If they refuse, you have every right to call the cops. That is your kid. You have hear me on this, every legal right to say no to this barbarism. Let's read on here. They said that I had an option, but I had to sign a consent form to get him admitted. So they lied. They put two options to me, the medication or the GED. If I could not make a choice, they would take guardianship from me. The Department of Mental Retardation lawyer threatened me several times. She would take the report, file whatever paperwork to take away guardianship. I had to make a choice fast between the medication or the GED because she was ready to do it right away. So I just put him on the GED. That's the bluff they pull. Okay? That's the bluff they pull. So parents, I want you to hear me on this because the JRC, although the most famous example, is by far not alone. Know your parental rights. Okay? This school cannot, hear me on this, no matter what that lawyer tries to tell you, they cannot just go and yank guardianship from you out of thin air, out of nothing. You want to know what the law looks at when it comes to guardianship? Is it a solid home? Are you bringing home solid income? Are the children happy and healthy? If all of these things are true, then that JRC lawyer can file all the briefs that she wants to. But it doesn't matter because you are within your legal rights. And if you are having steady income, you have proper, comfortable housing, you have all that you need, then they can come and examine you all they want to. But they have no leg to stand on when it comes to robbing you of your rights. I also put this to you as a massive red flag to any person that is thinking of putting their kids in this school. They actually don't care about your consent. They don't care what you want. They don't want you to have any say whatsoever in regards to your child's treatment program. They'll say so on paper and they'll say so in legal briefs, but it's all lies. It's all lies. This school will rip your parental rights away from you if they can get away with it. Know your rights. Know your children's rights as kids with disabilities as well. We have laws in place that are supposed to protect us from places like the JRC that have been in place since the late 90s. Especially, and most important, the Disability Bill of Rights. So, if they try to pull that with you when you're visiting your kid, if they even so much as mention as trying to force you to sign that form, you turn around, you look them dead in the eye, and you tell them, I cannot do that without first consulting with my attorney. And it's all the better if you bring the attorney with you. And also, your child has the right, according to the Disability Bill of Rights, to have an advocate with them in the room, advocating on their behalf while your child is getting a program put together. If they do not allow that, but you have to ask for it, knowing the laws, knowing your rights when it comes to places like this is paramount. Now, I love Rivendell. I was a part of the folks that helped develop the programs that are in place at Rivendell School. But even a place like Rivendell that I literally helped build, I would still tell you all of the same things. And we're going to close on that, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few that we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this evening. As always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Bye-bye, everyone.